Hey guys, ExJW still fading here. I wanted to make another video today. It's actually a pretty dreary day. It's really rainy, it's cloudy out. Hope that it's not causing too much like background noise or anything with the rain. I realized last video that my air conditioning makes a lot of ambient noise, so it's like you'll always hear some type of wind sound, so I might kind of lower that, make sure it's not too distracting. But today for this video, I want to kind of touch on a little bit further what you should do once you get out of the organization. And I know this seems kind of redundant because I made a video before, I forgot the title of it, but it was mainly talking about, I guess, things that you should kind of do or aim to do. I don't remember the title of the video, but I know it kind of would go along with what this information or what this video is going to be talking about too. This is kind of like a part 2 to that first video. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So one of the first things I think you should do when you are just exiting the organization, if you faded or if by some chance you got disfellowshipped, you should definitely take your time to find out who you are as a person. Your whole life you've been told what to do and how to act and how to feel about certain things. So now it's your chance to take back ownership of your personality and find out who you are, find out your own interests that may have kind of been held back when you're a witness because you couldn't pursue those things or find out who you were as a person. And that includes working on yourself. So some of the things that I guess I did personally was I started going to the gym. I started eating a little bit healthier. Now I did this a little bit more while I was still in, but it just further increased, it amplified once I found my way out. And I also think that this was a small part and to play in me trying to get out of the organization, because as I started to go to the gym and also eat healthier and focus on myself and my well-being, all the other things that Watchtower wants you to do that focuses on them succeeding was put on the back burner for me, and my full focus was just on me personally. Since I'm a young single man, I can focus on myself. I have that. It's not selfish for me to do that. I don't have responsibilities besides my own self, so I think I should be able to focus solely on myself. And I think that applies to everyone else too who doesn't have any other responsibilities or people relying on them. I wanted to also talk about when going to the gym, a lot of people think that it may consist of lifting weights and gaining muscle, but that's not necessarily the case. You can go to the gym and just walk on the treadmill, and that's it. If you do that every single day, 30 minutes a day on an incline, if your aim is to lose weight, you'll definitely lose weight. I can guarantee you that, as long as you're in a caloric deficit. And I mean, I guess I can make a video on that if you guys are really interested in how I dropped about 30 or so pounds myself. I wouldn't be too it wouldn't be too hard to make a video about that, and I can explain exactly what I did and how I went about it. And it wasn't too difficult, and I did it in a matter of a few months. It just takes some dedication and power of will, and I think everyone can accomplish it. You just have to really buckle down and try to work at it. Not to say that you can't slip up once or twice, because I did. I mean, multiple times. But it's not like you slip up one time and then you go all the way back to the beginning. I know that when I was in the organization, there was actually a good illustration for this. And I think it was mainly used for pornography addiction, where they were talking about how if you're climbing up a set of stairs and you trip or fall, you don't go down to the first step and then start over again. You just pick up where you left off and keep going up the stairs. The same thing applies with eating healthy and going to the gym. If you stumble or fall just pick yourself up and keep going. I mean, you messed up that one day, that's fine. Just make sure you do better the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and just keep working at it. Take your time. The only person you're really racing against is yourself. There's nobody else who's going to make your body more healthier than you. So if you take your time and work on yourself every single day, you're only going to get better, and it's only going to be affected by how much effort you put in. So going back to walking, I did this actually myself. I started walking a little bit when I first started going to the gym. Just to start off, I was like, okay, well, all I'm going to take baby steps. I'm just going to walk every time I go to the gym. It relieves stress. It also gets you out of the house. Some people don't have a good situation in their household, so do anything to get out of the house and just walk. If you can do that, it's one of the things I did. Also, if you don't think that you can walk, let's say 30 minutes a day on the treadmill, or you don't feel like you really have the drive to do it, then start off with something even easier. Walk one day out of the week for 10 minutes. And then the next week, add 2 days that you walk for 10 minutes and continue that trend up until it becomes a habit. And then you're going basically every single day, or at least the weekdays. And then after you get about 5 or 7 days that you're actually walking, then increase the time that you are walking. I know for me personally, my gym isn't really close to me, so I have to drive a little bit to get to where it's at. And I didn't want to keep wasting gas only walking about 10 minutes. So it encouraged me to, as soon as I got out the house and once I got to the gym, I was like, okay, I'm not just staying here for 10 minutes. I'm going to at least make it worth it. So I started walking at least 30 minutes, and then sometimes I increased it to 45 and then an hour. That was just when I was just beginning, but you take your time when doing it. One of the main reasons why I kind of promote eating healthier and also doing some type of exercise is that it keeps you from falling into a slump. When you fall into a slump, it's really difficult to get out of it, and you start to have really negative thoughts, and that's not good for anybody. And it can happen to anybody. It really can. Depression is a very serious thing. Many people probably don't feel like they have depression when they actually do. And there's different levels of it. Some people have really mild cases where it's just, every once in a while they might feel a little down. And then it'll go away for them. Whereas other people would have it constantly every single day. And eating healthier and going to the gym, I think, helps with that. I encourage you to go to a doctor first and then see what they recommend you do. But I do think that in conjunction with whatever they tell you to do, eating healthier and also going to the gym to do really simple exercises or just walking, you don't even have to go to the gym, can really help you with relieving stress. I'm not just talking as if I haven't seen this actually work. I've noticed this with a couple of people that I knew when they started to eat a little bit healthier and then also do some type of exercise, just walking. They seem to become a little bit happier. They got themselves out of this really dark place. And I guess it's just like a little escape. You're walking, you're clearing your mind, and it really does help. Now, one of the next things I wanted to talk about was making friends with people at your workplace, school, or local community. And I know I mentioned that in the past video. I think that this is pretty important, mainly because we're really social creatures, so we really need people to be there. We need somebody to at least talk to, even if it's about something trivial. It could be practically anything, but just having somebody else to kind of talk to helps us. It helps us out mentally. I don't think it's good for anybody to really be alone for very long periods of time. I don't know the effects of it myself, like what would actually happen to them, but I do know that if I'm alone by myself for long periods of time without talking to literally anybody, even if it's somebody that I don't really know, but just having some type of interaction with someone else, it can make you a little awkward whenever you actually do interact with people if you're away from them for a long period of time. So it's best to just have some type of interaction with people. If you don't like all the people at your workplace, I'm sure there's probably another place you could probably meet people at, or talk to somebody. It doesn't really have to even be long, but just have interaction. It could be really simple, small talk. You don't even have to like the conversation, but just talking to someone. I know this also might be a little bit difficult because of the current situation everyone is in, but you just have to do your best and see what you can do from there. There's also, I don't know if anyone really does this, but I mean, you're on YouTube, so I kind of figured that this also kind of counts as human interaction. When you leave a comment or if you make a video, that counts as human interaction. In my book, at least. At least you'll be able to talk to somebody and converse with someone and, you know, bounce ideas off of people and learn something new. I know in the other video that I kind of addressed this too, but be very mindful of the people that you make friends with and the people that you associate with. You don't want to associate with people who might not have your best interest at heart, or people that are very, very negative when talking about different subjects. You want to keep it very positive. Avoid negative thinking so that you don't fall into a slump yourself. Misery loves company. Not saying you should avoid all people who are very miserable or sad that might need help, but don't let yourself be brought down with other people who are just not trying to better themselves too. If you can help those people out, by all means, definitely help them. But if it looks like they don't really want any type of help and they just want to keep being in the same situation, there's not much else you can do. They have to take it upon themselves after a certain point to try to, you know, get themselves out of that. But that's just my personal experience, and that's just my opinion. Obviously, I could be wrong in certain circumstances. There's always an outlier somewhere. And if that's like the only person that you know who does that and you're like their only friend, hopefully you can help them out of that. But just try to make sure that you keep yourself in a positive mindset. You wouldn't want to become negative just because they're negative. That wouldn't help you. So going back to the main point, which is finding out who you are, you want to find out what your interests are. After leaving the organization, some people may not know exactly what they like to do. A lot of their time probably was spent going out in service or making sure they're preparing for the meetings and so forth. You want to try to go ahead and try new things. I just want to give you a warning that you're going to fail at a lot of things that you try. It's okay to fail. It's perfectly fine to fail. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the first step to becoming good at something, is that you're going to just failing at it. And if you fail at something, but you still like trying it, then hey, you found what you like and keep pursuing that until you get better at it. But if you fail at something and you really don't like it, then try something else. You can change your interest every single day and find something new if you'd like. There's always something new that you can get involved with or something new that you can learn. This also goes, it kind of segues into another point. To pursue a career that makes you happy. The organization doesn't really encourage people to go to college. I think it's good for people to go to college and just kind of gain some knowledge of things that they may not really know too much about. It kind of expands your horizons and it gets you out of this shell that you may have had around your life since you were born, if you were born in Jehovah's Witness and now leaving. You want to really get rid of that shell. Sometimes a shell can act as a protection, but other times it could be a hindrance. If you're constantly being shielded from different viewpoints or different topics or situations, you're not going to be as strong. You find a field that you're interested in, if it might be welding, if it might be a medical field. There's so many different things to get involved with. Learn about it, focus on it. You can really never stop learning. You can always learn something new. Learning is probably it's the thing that you're always going to constantly do in your life. The only time that you stop is when you want to stop, but I don't think anyone really should be like that. I think we should always continue to try to learn something new. By some chance you can't go to college, you could always learn a new skill by watching YouTube videos. it's amazing how much that you can learn and how much you can kind of do just at your house without even leaving your room by watching YouTube videos. There's so many YouTube videos out there that just teaches you little small things, how to do, I don't know, like woodworking, or how to build something that you already have parts in your house, or maybe even baking something. It's very interesting. You can find this rabbit hole and just keep getting deeper and deeper into it and always learn something new. YouTube is like a great platform for that. Once you graduate college, this is just my opinion, to me at least it makes sense. Use money, but don't let it use you. Money is a very important tool, but it shouldn't be the end-all be-all. When you start focusing just solely on money, you become almost greedy for it, and I don't think being greedy for anything is a good is a good idea. When you become greedy for something, you completely shut out everything else and you only focus on that one thing. And by doing that, you can create so much imbalance in your life. It's not even funny. It's best to have a balance. Use money, but don't let it use you. This one I feel is pretty important too, this next point. If you really need to, and you're having a very, very difficult time, please see a therapist. Go see a doctor. I can't stress that point enough. If you have problems that you really can't overcome easily by yourself, or with the help of somebody in your immediate family, or even a good friend, go see a doctor, go see a therapist. Nothing's wrong with seeing those people if you desperately need help. This goes along with the deprogramming process. Many people have been born into the organization, and that's all they've known from the beginning. They didn't really have too many interactions with a lot of people who are in the world. If they're homeschooled, that might be the case, which I personally have seen that in a couple of friends that I had in the organization. They were homeschooled from the beginning. They don't know anything else besides the organization, the homeschooling, and that's it, because they didn't really have too many social interactions. You really need to deprogram a lot of the things that you learned. I'm not saying that all the things that you learned from the organization is necessarily bad, but I will say that there's a lot of destructive things, and I'm not going to name all of them because we could be here for a while. There's a lot of destructive things in the organization that they teach you, and it's best to go over all this with somebody who's a licensed professional. Talk to them about it. See what things you should keep. See what things you should get rid of so that you can move forward. Because if you don't ever do that and try to work out all the things that you've learned, you basically just have this huge mess jumbled up in your mind, and you can't go through all the clutter. You try your best to just go each and every day to get past it, but really it's not actually solving the problem. It's almost like those shows with people who are hoarders. They hoard a lot of things in their house. There's so much stuff in their house, they can't even keep track of it all. And yeah, they're able to survive every single day. They're able to survive. They live like that for years, but the living conditions are horrible, and they're not really taking care of themselves. They're not living healthily. It's the same thing with somebody who hasn't decluttered their mind and got everything put together. Just make sure that you actually solve the problem and you go to a licensed professional so that they can help you solve the problem. No one's going to think ill of you by seeing that licensed professional. And even if someone does, who cares what they think? You're trying to solve the problem for you. You're trying to better yourself. If the other person who's making fun of you makes fun of you because you're trying to better yourself, why does it matter? They might have problems themselves that they can't even get over, and that's why they're actually making fun of you. You never know. I would just say completely disregard anybody else who might look down on you just because you're seeking help for problems that you actually need help with. There's nothing wrong with getting help. I believe that about sums it up for this video. I hope it was able to be helpful for someone. I wanted to also thank you guys for, I think we just hit about 300 subscribers. I guess that the videos are helping people out. I'm glad that they are. I hope that I can continue making videos. To be quite honest with you, it's a little difficult sometimes. I think I put out more content, more videos if I could do this in the comfort of my own home. But because my family members are still in the organization, it's difficult for me to make videos, work on the videos. It's just a little bit difficult to do that. Otherwise, I would. I know I made about 2 videos, which was just it was a review of the Friday convention. Just only Friday. I didn't do the other 2 days. I made that video and split it up into 2 parts. But while I was making it, it was very difficult for me to go over the information, to give my comment about it. And if you watch those videos, you'll probably notice that I was basically whispering the whole time when I was making that video. It's also a little bit difficult to find the time with the way my schedule is set up to make a whole bunch of videos. I'm glad the way it is right now, to where I can kind of, get away and make a video here and there. I try to make one at least once per week, and if I can, 2 times per week. It's really fun for me. I guess this technically for me, this is like part of my deprogramming process. So you guys are all assisting me in that. And by your comments and also you guys subscribing, it really shows that I guess what I'm saying is helpful. So I'll keep making the videos. I'm glad I'm able to be of help to a lot of people who might feel like they can't get help anywhere. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much, guys, and take care.